I still hook up with my ex every time he's away on business. My fiancée was bragging about it to her best friend over the phone. The fool even got down on one knee with a massive diamond. She had no clue I was standing just outside the bedroom door, hearing every word. I didn't make a sound. The following morning, I quietly took the ring back, left the pawn shop receipt on her nightstand next to a short note. Maybe your ex has enough cash to repurchase it. She's been pleading for me to come back ever since. It's been exactly 30 days since everything exploded. 30 days since I learned the woman I wanted to marry treated me like a running joke in her group chats. 30 days since I carried out what felt, at the time, like perfectly fair retribution. Right now I'm sitting in a hotel suite on the opposite coast, nursing a glass of neat bourbon, asking myself whether I took it too far. Let me start from the beginning. Melissa and I crossed paths 3 years ago through people we both knew. Sharp, driven, stunning. She checked every box I thought I had. She's an assistant district attorney. That's how our worlds collided. I was testifying as a forensic accounting expert on one of her cases. After 12 months, we moved in together, and 6 months ago I proposed. The ring set me back almost 3 months' pay, 2 full carats, princess cut, custom platinum setting. She sobbed when I knelt, told me it was flawless, told me I was flawless. My job keeps me on planes constantly. I chase financial fraud for big corporate clients. Decent money, brutal hours. 3, sometimes 4 nights a week I'm in a different city, living out of suitcases. Melissa always claimed she was fine with it, said she admired how hard I worked. Last month I was supposed to fly to Seattle for a 3-day engagement. Standard meetings, nothing out of the ordinary. Flight was booked for 10 a.m., but at 8:30 the client rang. Their CFO had suffered a massive heart attack during the night. Everything was postponed a week. Trip canceled. Just like that, I shot Melissa a text from the garage. Trips off, heading back upstairs. No reply. Didn't think much of it. She was probably blow-drying her hair. Our condo is split level. You come in on the lower floor from the garage, then climb stairs to the main living space. Halfway up with my roller bag, I heard her voice, bright and laughing. I assumed she was gossiping about some over-the-top proposal video. I was about to call out when I caught my own name. And Scott hasn't got the faintest clue. 0. She was practically yelling over the hum of the bathroom fan. She always put calls on speaker while putting on makeup. I still sleep with my ex every single time he's out of town. This moron actually went and bought me a diamond ring. I stopped dead on the staircase, hidden from view, close enough that every syllable landed like a punch. "No, you do not," came Susan's delighted squeal from the phone. Susan, the college friend who'd always looked down her nose at me. "I absolutely do," Melissa went on, voice thick with self-satisfaction. "Devin and I have an understanding. Scott's away so much it's basically the ideal arrangement. I get the steady boyfriend and the fancy presents. Devin gets no strings fun whenever he's around." "Melissa, you're evil," Susan giggled, loving every second. "But you have to see this ring, it's obscene. Hang on, sending you a photo right now." A pause. "Look at that thing. Can you believe he blew that kind of money?" Devin was crying with laughter when I showed him. My fingers went bloodless on the banister. Couldn't draw air. I just stood there while the woman I loved tore me apart for sport. "So what are you going to do when Scott wants to actually pick a wedding date?" Susan asked. "I'll think of something," Melissa said airily. "Suddenly a big promotion comes up in another state, whatever. I'm good at making guys hear what they want to hear." That was the moment something inside me went cold and still. I wasn't going to scream, wasn't going to give her the scene she could laugh about later. I turned around, walked silently back down the stairs, got in my car, and drove to the nearest cafe. I sat there 20 minutes, letting the plan form. Then I realized I needed one thing from the condo before I disappeared. The ring. I waited until 9:15. Melissa would definitely be gone to court by then. I let myself in, went straight to her jeweler drawer, took the ring, grabbed my passport, birth certificate, and a backup drive with all my financial files and left. First call was to my best friend Marcus. Told him everything in a flat voice. Asked if I could stay on his couch a few days. He didn't hesitate. Next I called the bank, moved my half of the money out of our joint household account, left precisely 50% of the monthly bills. Then the landlord explained I had to break the lease because of an irreconcilable personal situation. Because we'd been perfect tenants, he let me out with only a 2-month penalty instead of 6. Then the ring. I found a pawn shop half an hour away, walked in, put the little blue box on the counter. The owner let out a low whistle. Beautiful stone. Recent purchase. 6 months ago. He inspected it, checked the GIA certificate. Best I can do is $9,500. It had cost me $22. Didn't matter. Sold. He counted out the cash, handed me a detailed receipt. I asked him to print 2 copies. By early afternoon Melissa was still in court until 6. I had hours. I went back, packed everything that was mine. Clothes, books, the photos of my family, nothing that belonged to us. 3 trips to Marcus's place. Then I started the real work, the quiet kind. I logged into our shared cloud drive, downloaded every document and photo that was mine, then deleted every single picture of the 2 of us. Every trip, every Christmas, every stupid selfie, gone. Left all her solo shots untouched. I opened our shared calendar where we'd already marked venue tours and cake tastings. Instead of deleting anything, I added fake appointments, fertility specialist consultations, adoption agency visits, things we'd never once discussed. Next, her favorite $300 bottle of Napa Cab she was saving for something special. I poured 1 glass, drank a sip, carefully pressed her lipstick onto the rim. She always left her makeup bag on the counter, and left the glass half full on the island. I opened her work MacBook. She never locked it at home because she trusted me, and drafted an email to her entire office distribution list titled Big Personal News. Wrote a long, glowing announcement about her pregnancy and upcoming resignation to focus on family. Saved it to drafts, didn't send. Then I took the massive case binder she'd been living with for weeks, hundreds of pages of evidence, notes, exhibits, and reordered about 20 pages. Not enough to be obvious to anyone else, just enough that she'd know something was wrong when she was on her feet in court. Little messages only she would understand, screaming, "I heard you. I know exactly who you are." Finally, I placed the empty ring box on her pillow with the pawn receipt folded inside and a short note in my handwriting. "Maybe your ex can afford to buy this back." I left my key on the counter and walked out for good. I never blocked her number. I wanted to watch her try to explain. First call came at 7:23 p.m. I let it ring. Texts poured in immediately after. Confusion, then panic, then fury. "Where are you? What is this receipt supposed to mean? This isn't funny. Call me right now. Whatever you think you heard, you got it wrong." By midnight, 17 voicemails, 34 messages. I listened to every one, read every text, answered none. Next day, she showed up at my office. I'd already warned security. They walked her out. She went to Marcus's building. He wouldn't buzz her up. She called my parents. I'd already told them everything. They stonewalled her. She kept trying. Emails to my work address, DMs on every platform, flowers delivered with soggy apology cards. A week of total silence from me. Marcus finally said, Man, are you sure you don't want to at least hear her side? People say dumb stuff to friends. There is no side that makes this okay. I told him. Then, 10 days after I vanished, an email landed from Susan. Subject: You deserve the truth. I nearly trashed it. Didn't. Scott, what Melissa told me that morning was a complete lie. She has never once slept with Devin since they broke up years before you two met. Devin has lived in Sydney for the last 5 years. Married to an Australian woman. Just had their first kid. I still follow him. His whole life is public. Melissa was making it up to sound edgy in front of me and the rest of our old college group. We're a toxic bunch who reward drama. She was performing for us. It was disgusting and wrong, but she never actually cheated. I'm sorry that I stared at the screen until the words stopped swimming. Then I checked Devin's Instagram myself. Sydney Opera House pics, wedding photos, newborn in a hospital cap tagged Royal North Shore. He really hadn't been on the same continent as Melissa since before we met. I messaged him directly. He replied within minutes, confused and angry. Melissa had apparently been messaging his wife, hysterical. He confirmed he hadn't seen or spoken to Melissa in years. Everything tilted. She hadn't been unfaithful. She had fabricated an entire affair to seem interesting to people who didn't matter. She had mocked me, humiliated me, treated me like a prop, but not in the way I thought. I still didn't reach out. But Marcus told me she was showing up at his door almost daily, eyes swollen, begging just to talk. She dropped noticeable weight, looked like she hadn't slept in weeks. The case I'd subtly sabotaged had gone sideways. She'd looked unprepared in court. Her boss had pulled her aside. Part of me felt grim satisfaction. Part of me started to wonder if I'd scorched earth over something different. It's been a full month now. I've signed a lease on a new place, changed my number, rebuilt the surface of my life. But the question gnaws at me every night. Did I burn down something that might have been saved, or was the betrayal, different flavor though it was, still fatal? I thought I was leaving a cheater. Turns out I left a woman who valued looking cool to toxic friends more than she valued my dignity. Is that survivable? So I'm asking you, internet strangers, was I right to walk? Or did I annihilate something worth saving? Update 2 weeks later. Thank you all for the flood of responses. I read everyone. After thinking it over, I agreed to meet Melissa. 1 hour, public coffee shop downtown. No promises except conversation. She was already sitting there when I walked in, clutching her cup like it was keeping her afloat. She looked fragile, hollowed out. For the first time, I let her talk without cutting her off. What I said was unforgivable, she started, voice shaking. I have no defense that makes it acceptable. I lied because I felt dull next to my college friends. They're all cheating or divorcing or living some soap opera life, and my happy, stable relationship with you made me the boring one. So I invented chaos to feel relevant. One stupid lie turned into that whole conversation. I never touched Devin, never even saw him. I just wanted Susan to think I was still that wild girl from university. She cried through most of it. I asked the only question that mattered. If their opinion weighed more than my respect, how could we ever have a healthy marriage? She didn't try to dodge it. We couldn't. Not the way things were. I've cut every single one of them out of my life. I'm in therapy twice a week trying to understand why I'd torch the best thing in my life for people who never actually cared about me. She told me finding the draft pregnancy email almost put her in the ER. The wine glass with her lipstick had her convinced someone had broken in. The shuffled case pages cost her credibility in front of a judge. Every surgical strike had landed exactly where I aimed. You used your skills like a weapon, she said, almost impressed despite herself. You took my whole world apart without raising your voice. We talked the full hour. Calm, raw, honest. At the end, I told her I could forgive her, but forgiveness wasn't the same as reconciliation. The trust was shattered, not by infidelity, but by the casual cruelty of her words. That kind of contempt doesn't evaporate. She asked if there was any chance, ever. I said I didn't know, that we both needed to become different people first. She had bought the ring back from the pawn shop the very next day, paid a heavy premium. She slid the box across the table. I pushed it back. Keep it. Sell it, donate the money, whatever you need. It's yours now. We hugged once, briefly, like closing a book. Not bitter. Just over. I'm moving forward. Took a new role with almost no travel. Started indoor climbing. Catching up with friends I'd let drift. Do I think the revenge went too far? Most of it, no. Taking my life back quietly, dividing assets fairly, the pawn receipt, those were proportionate. The mind game details, the wine glass, the draft email, the case files, were cruel. But they were precise mirrors of the cruelty she showed me. My only regret is not hearing her out before I disappeared. One conversation might have spared us both weeks of extra pain. Then again, I'm not sure it would have changed the outcome. Someone who can speak about their partner that way has revealed something fundamental. That revelation doesn't vanish just because the facts underneath were different. Thank you again for helping me think it through. This chapter is closing, and I'm okay with how it ends. Final update: 3 months after that, this will be my last post about this. Melissa and I have met several more times. Each conversation has been more grounded, more honest than the last. She stayed in therapy, quit the DA's office, severed every toxic friendship, and is building a life that actually reflects who she wants to be. I've done my own work. Realized my nuclear reaction came partly from growing up watching my parents lie and manipulate each other. I had a hair trigger for any hint of deception. We're dating again. Slowly. From scratch. New rules, new boundaries, no trying to glue the old relationship back together. The ring stays with her, but it's not an engagement ring anymore. It's a scar and a reminder I don't know if will last. Trust grows back crooked and slow, but sometimes stronger where it broke. What I do know is that the brutal way I left, the absolute icy finality of it, was the earthquake that forced both of us to actually change. Sometimes things have to be raised before they can be rebuilt properly. For anyone else going through betrayal, check facts, yes, but also trust what the words you heard reveal about the speaker's heart. Respond deliberately, not just emotionally. And remember, forgiveness is something you do for your own peace, whether you stay or go. The pawn guy apparently told Melissa I didn't show a flicker of emotion when I sold the ring. Just calm, polite, resolute. She said that image haunted her more than any screaming match ever could have. Quiet self-respect hits harder than rage. Whatever the future holds, I'm keeping that. Thank you all for walking through this with me. Your perspectives turned pain into growth. That's no small thing.